Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time. Right? Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. How is everything on the West Coast?
Oh, it's interesting, actually. I have a little story for you. But before we dive into that, happy November.
Happy November.
Happy November.
Happy November. You know what it makes me think about?
What?
It's beginning to look a lot like crypto. And everywhere you go.
That was not scripted, folks, just so you know. That was just how it rolls. I love it. I love it. It is.
Yeah, it really is. It really is starting to look a lot like crypto. So I'm excited to hear your morning story. So it's story time with Kelly, everyone.
Yeah, story time. Meet me in the ethers. That's the name of my next thing. Well, this is really just, you asked how things are on the West Coast. Let me just give you a little bit of a snippet. So I live in Portland, and it's different here. It's changed a tremendous amount, which we all know the whole world has. So my story really is no different than anybody else's, outside of the fact that I was in a small little area, not too far from where I'm at. I'm not going to, it's called Selwood. And I was looking around, I'm looking to find a new place to call home. And I'm looking, it's like, yeah, I can do this for sure. I love Selwood. It's a great little town. And, it's right smack in the middle of the city, but it's a nice community walkabout type neighborhood. And so I'm like, yeah, I could do this. So I'm taking my dog and I'm walking around, and I run into a couple of people that were pretty challenged, whether they be on psychedelics or whatever is going on in their own world, but challenged. But the biggest thing I just had to, and it was a sad but laughing moment when I look up and there's a guy biking down the middle of the road with a catalytic converter on his back. And I was like, I don't think I'll move here. I think this one's off the list. But really, in the middle of a rainy Portland October afternoon, is a guy riding down the middle of a street with a catalytic converter strapped to his back. So anyway, that's how things are right here in this moment. Deep breath.
Yep.
So, yeah. How about you?
Well, I mean, things here in Florida, like our little town, like nothing has changed. No one's riding around in catalytic converters on their back. It is interesting though. Like I jump online and I'm always looking at like different videos, and it's interesting. Like I saw a video of a young man, he must have been like 21, 22, in a park in San Francisco, and he identified as a baby, and he was dressed up like a baby, and he was escorted out of the park, which was good to see. But when I think about all of the things that are going on and the increase of like our mental illness, like in society as a whole, it's really concerning, and feeding this, right? I look at like this system kind of feeding this mental illness and, all of this instability and lawlessness. And, it's so concerning, and it's just so sad. Like I've never been to Portland. I've always wanted to go, but not anymore. Like unless I'm coming.
It's a great city.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's a great city, and it's just going through a tough time, which a lot of cities are. And to your point, when I see situations like this, and there's a lot of them everywhere. I mean, this city is really no different than most cities or even small communities. You have pockets of instabilities, but I just a great deal of compassion that goes out, and I laugh about it only because I laugh, but in that moment I have great compassion as well for the situation that people are experiencing, because it's certainly not easy. No. And I recognize that. I recognize that. So I laugh just because I don't know what to do in the moment outside of whatever work I can do in the ethereal way, if you will. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish you luck on your journey of finding a new home in a safe neighborhood and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
all the things, all the things.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's jump into some news.
Let's do that.
All right, Kelly.
Take it away.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Who has accumulated the most gold this year?
Boy, that's a tough. There's probably a few people in the running, a few countries in the running, a few institutions in the running. I don't know. Russia, Fidelity, who? BlackRock.
Central banks.
Oh, well, there you go. Close to there. Okay.
So this is like a record year for central banks who have accumulated 400 tons of gold.
That makes you pause.
That really makes you pause. And it's almost concerning because I've talked to people like in the crypto world, and there are some folks that think that gold is going away, that Bitcoin is going to replace gold. And when I see the central banks accumulating massive amounts of gold, I think we should follow the money. Right. We're going to follow the money, and we should all be accumulating gold and silver, you know, as well as our crypto. But just this was like according to the World Gold Council.
Yeah, that's huge. It's a huge indicator.
Huge indicator. So we'll have the link to the article in the description. But, you know, a lot of things are going on. There's so many things. I feel like everything is moving so quickly. You know, I saw yesterday, it was JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan, who was super anti, right? I think Jamie Dimon a couple of years ago was threatening to let their employees go if they invested in Bitcoin. And here we have JP Morgan yesterday executed the first ever swap between tokenized fiat currencies. It was the Singapore dollar and the Japanese yen. And they did it on Polygon's blockchain in Aave, which is the decentralized finance platform built on Ethereum. Folks, we're moving to a new financial system. You know what I mean?
Yep. And for those that are new, still Polygon is the same as Matic. They go by there's two different things. So yeah, that's really important. That's a huge thing.
Huge thing. And there's just so much adoption with Polygon. So when we think about Polygon and Matic, think of Polygon as the blockchain, Matic is the token, just like Ethereum is the blockchain and ETH is the token.
Right.
Okay. But again, like I'm really starting to see these centralized institutions like JP Morgan connecting with DeFi, which has kind of been our theory since the beginning. We're connecting centralized finance to decentralized finance. And eventually, in probably about 10, 15, 20 years, we'll move into a decentralized world, you know, because I see centralized systems failing.
Right.
For sure. Right. They're just not doing the best job right now.
Yeah. Interesting. That's huge though. It's a huge win.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge win for adoption, you know, and it's a tough call because like I know a lot of folks, they don't want cryptocurrency to get adopted by mass institutions. And at the same time, we need mass adoption in order for the world to change. Everyone's going to get on board. And this is just such a good point to see, like, again, like a company like JP Morgan entering DeFi, like, you know,
yeah,
on Polygon, absolutely. Not financial advice, but you might want to look into it.
Right.
So yeah, and then I'm on LinkedIn this morning, and LinkedIn is becoming one of my favorite social media platforms because it's supposed to be like a networking tool for professionals. And again, it's like I'm so, my whole career has been on LinkedIn in IT, and to see all these IT folks posting video after video about not moving to a central bank digital currency and the reasons why, sharing the education, it makes me feel so good. So good to just jump on and be like, this is great, like that's how we're going to make some ripple effects and changes is through education. You have to know what a central bank digital currency is to know that this is a problem,
Right.
and the reasons why,
Yeah, and the majority of the population don't know that. So that's why we show up every Friday to do these.
Yep. And on Sunday at 2:00, if you're local, come meet us at one of our favorite restaurants, Sun Bros. We're doing a cryptocurrency meetup group, and I think we should talk about it. We need to talk about central bank digital currencies and the importance of moving into decentralized finance.
Right. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yep. And with that said, let's talk a little bit more about adoption.
Yes.
All right. So if everybody goes to Unified Texas Bank, it's a bank in Texas. The third tab, you can click on it, and it says digital assets. And then you click on it and it pops up and it says digital assets coming soon. Well, howdy doody,
well, there you go.
It's like, I really believe once we get regulation, and it's coming, and companies and banks are moving forward without regulation, everything is set up. And once we get regulation, everyone's going to be able to hold their cryptocurrency at their bank. I highly suggest everyone becoming your own bank. But again, the majority of folks are just going to go into crypto, holding their Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever coins it is at their bank that they use. And that's going to really be a catalyst for mass adoption.
I completely agree.
Just think about it. Yeah. If everyone can buy, hold, and trade your Bitcoin at Bank of America, what is that going to do to the price of Bitcoin?
Oh, absolutely. It's super exciting. And yeah, for sure. Yep. As you said, I think we're both proponents of being our own bank and holding holding my own keys. But if this is what it takes to get the majority of the population on board and investing, then I'm all for that part, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we just need to keep spreading the word and share all these videos, and let's help folks get educated. Because I had dinner with my cousins the other night, and super smart, super smart, done really, really well. And they just don't own Bitcoin. They don't own Ethereum,
right.
And it reminds me of our song, "The future of finance is on the blockchain." People just need to know about Bitcoin and Ethereum. You don't have to know all this other stuff that Kelly and I talk about. Right. Just Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we're good. You guys are good. You're good. You don't have to research all this stuff.
No, you don't. And if you want to learn, and if music is your platform, go to thehodlers.net or our YouTube channel. They end up taking you to basically the same place. But really, we've got some great songs that Andrea has written, and the lyrics are hysterical and educational, and you would learn so much through it and laugh. And we can all use a good laugh.
Yeah, definitely. And there's such good educational tools. Like I was teaching a class last night, and one of the MCs was just like, "Hey, Andrea, talk about that song you did, Dumb Cash, with Dodd-Frank. What's Dodd-Frank again?" And it's like, awesome, right? Yeah. So Dodd-Frank was passed in 2010, and it's law. And it allows banks to bail themselves in if they need your money. So if you have money at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist, if there's some sort of crisis, it's legal for the banks to take your money.
Right.
So important to become your own bank right now until, you know, we become a little bit more stable as a society and we all agree, hey, this is the next paradigm that we're going to be living in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because right now it's like we're at, you know, I try to always think about it like if you hold a like a trapeze bar, right, and you're like swinging, right, that's like the current paradigm. You let go, you're flying and flailing around, and we're all looking to grab that next bar, and that's where we're at, and we don't know where we're going. But again, the more educated we are, the more we can kind of steer that ship and make sure that we have digital rights in this new economy.
Absolutely.
Yep. So anyway, check out it's Unified Texas Bank. So check out Unified Texas Bank. I got giggles when I was reading about it.
It's utb.com.
Yeah. And we'll have the link in the description as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And again, like when I'm looking at, like, if everyone should always be checking out congress.gov and just look at all of the different regulation and bills around cryptocurrency, because there's bills that are like no CBDC, no central bank digital currency. So it's there. There are people in the government that are still good.
Yeah, it's important to lean in.
Yeah. So, you know, so the other thing I did this week, which I was kind of like, again, like just kind of like chuckling to myself because I'm such a tech geek, right? So I was watching this gamer play, right? So Gala Games is getting ready to launch like I think it's about 28 games, you know, in the upcoming year. And they have a game called Grit. And this game is pretty cool. Like you collect like all these different weapons and it's like a royal, it's a battle royale. So you're battling other people, and you can collect guns and rope and all these different things. And you ride a horse and like you pick your shotgun and it flips over. I mean, it's kind of cool. And I was watching the developer because I'm not a gamer. I don't know anything about games, but I've been kind of following it because when I look at adoption, I think it's going to be games. I think it's digital art. It's music. These are all of the things, the loyalty programs, right? You want a latte with your NFT at Starbucks, built on Polygon's blockchain, right? So these are the things that are getting adopted first. So when I'm looking at this game, and when I think about, well, okay, so Gala partnered with Fortnite, right? Epic Games created Fortnite, and Grit is going to be the first game on the blockchain that is going to reach everyone everywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we've been talking about Gala Games for a few months now. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm not a gamer either, but I know how important gaming is out there in the world for a majority of the people.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I saw it was like, I forget if it was like Tuesday, I think maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, and I'll hop on, I'll check the prices of all the different coins, and Gala Games was up like over 30%. So I was like, oh, what's going on with Gala? They must have released something, and they released this game, Spider Tanks, and the volume of that token went from like 100 million to over 500 million. And that's why the price pumped over 30%. So if I'm thinking that this Spider Tanks game bumped that coin so much, what's going to happen when Grit gets released? It's in beta. So right now they have gamers and they're trying it out and they're getting feedback of what they like, what they don't like, you know. But this gamer was sad when it was over, and he got to play the game for like 2.5 hours. And he was like, no, man, why don't they give me like another day? Like, I want to keep playing this. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So it looks really fun, and it's a play to earn game. And it gives Gala Games is giving you ownership, right? That's the difference. Like when we're moving to the blockchain gives content creators ownership of their NFTs, where you can actually buy and sell, you know, your weapons or your horses or whatever it may be, you know, for money, for these Gala tokens, and you trade them for money, for dollars. So pretty cool. It's a cool
Well,
concept.
it's interesting because I'm actually this conversation of NFTs has kind of percolated up over the last couple of days between myself and a few other people. And one of the things that we've been talking about, how are the NFTs really going to work out there in the world, and how do you assign serial numbers? So say if you're an artist, you know, because you mentioned that at the very beginning of this little segment about Gala Games, it's like if you have a serial number on an NFT, then that NFT can be sold throughout. So if you're a high-end artist, right, and you have a print or an NFT that's out there, then that particular serial number could be purchased by art collectors, and it can be featured wherever that art collector chooses to feature their NFT. So it could be in their metaverse penthouse studio, or it could be their beach condo, or whatever the case may be. So anyway, it is really interesting. And I know that NFTs have kind of fallen off the conversation point right now based on just the market conditions, but they're still a very, very viable part of the infrastructure that's been built.
Oh, it's such a good point, right,
Huge.
Kel? I mean, NFTs are the building blocks of the blockchain,
Yeah.
because all it is you're taking a physical object and you're making it digital. That could be gold, silver, housing, art, whatever it is, it's all an NFT. So this is it. Like, this is the building blocks of the digital economy. It's
And
all
gaming. Yep.
NFTs. All it, you know, metaverse aside, like, we don't have to participate in the metaverse, but we can definitely participate in the tokenization of real estate.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Owning a fraction of an apartment building where we're collecting rent. And instead of having an illiquid asset that takes 30 days to close on, all we have to do is trade it.
Yeah.
And it happens instantaneously.
It's mind-blowing, but it's there.
You know, it's mind-blowing. And at the same time, it gives me hope that as we see these systems mature, like these platforms mature, and they create more and more of a network effect, you know, we'll just see more and more mass adoption.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it can actually offset some of the current problems that we have now, right? Because when I listen to Janet Yellen, she talks about MMT, you know, like that modern monetary theory, right? Let's just keep printing money and expand our current system. Well, you can actually do that with the blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Right. No, absolutely.
And when I think
Yep.
about the future of finance, and I think about like Ethereum, right? So most people who do development, they do it on Ethereum, and they create decentralized apps. So you'll see things, you know, you'll see a word like dApps. All it is a decentralized application that was built on top of a blockchain. Think about how businesses and games and everything is going to be built on the blockchain.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
It's hard to imagine, but you know, in 3 to 5 years, like, this is going to get mass adoption.
It is, and we're still early. We're still early.
Cheers to that.
Is it 5 o'clock somewhere?
Somewhere. Awesome. So anyway, we're going to see what happens with this grit game. I mean, I think this is something I talked about before. I think in one of our classes, I actually showed part of the game while it was still being in development, and you know, something pretty cool. And again, it's just like, if your kids want to play to earn Gala tokens, it's decentralized, right? So your identity is your own. And something like Facebook or Meta that did Oculus, they're collecting your data and they're monetizing it.
Right.
In Gala games, they're not collecting your data and you get to keep your own money. I like that. Right? So hopefully this is going to, just keep moving forward. And it seems to be like where we're heading. So that's pretty cool. I love it.
It's a good sign. Sign
It
of the
is.
future.
That's it. That's it. So, Kel, what do you think? You want to touch base about Ripple and give like an update? Should we dive into that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Ripple is in the news. I think every week we touch on it, but it's always very important. So what came out this week?
Yeah. So, so what I've been finding is that there's been about 10 amicus briefs, and an amicus brief is just like a filing. It's like a friend of the court. So on behalf of Ripple, we have like Coinbase and the Blockchain Council and just like 10 other, I think I had them like written down. It was pretty cool, but they had, they're filing papers to show, hey, like Coinbase was like, what the SEC did, it wasn't fair notice. And then you have like Spend a Bit, which was like, we use XRP for our payments, cross-border payments model, nothing to do with Ripple. So we're getting all this information from all of these different companies supporting Ripple. Okay. So I think that this is like really good because again, like this case can help give regulatory clarity, not just to XRP, but to all the crypto space.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just so important. John Deaton filed an amicus brief on behalf of all XRP holders.
Oh, interesting.
And the SEC, because there's been so many requests to file amicus briefs that they stopped fighting it. There's nothing they can do. And that's the power of us having the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same when I think about Ripple or I think about a central bank digital currency in the United States of America, we the people can stop this.
Yeah. Power in the masses.
It's power in the masses. So again, I heard Brad Garlinghouse say, it might be March 2023. You can't predict when the lawsuit's going to end. He's like, we really don't have any idea. Even they were like, Gary Gensler doesn't know like when this whole thing is going to end. So we keep checking it every single day. It can, the case can settle at any moment. But again, we have the Ripple case ending. We have regulation coming. So it could be like the perfect opportunity to really like ride this wave, and have an opportunity to make some good money, by holding some XRP. Not financial advice, but I think once the lawsuit's over, I could see XRP pumping. And the fact that Coinbase filed an amicus brief on behalf of XRP, that's creating a stir in the community of like, okay, Coinbase, relist XRP. Uphold never took XRP down. Anyone, unless you live in New York, can go and buy XRP on Uphold, which is a centralized exchange, which is going to bring tokenized it'll tokenize the stock market and bring it to their exchange where we can all buy a piece of any stock that we want. Uphold is planning on going public. So again, I'm 100% supportive of Uphold just because they held their ground. They were the only ones in the United States that never delisted XRP.
Right, exactly. And those that may not know the story, as a U.S. citizen, you can't buy XRP on the major exchanges here outside of what Andrea is speaking of, and that being Uphold. You can get it on Atomic. You can get it on Uphold, and then you can buy it through a swap in the SafePal, but that would be about it.
Right. And again, like when we talk about, some of these tokens, it's like most people will buy stuff on a centralized exchange. They don't know about Atomic and all of these other DeFi platforms where you can swap, you know, in a decentralized manner to obtain XRP or any token really. So yeah, so kudos to Uphold. You know, they do hold your coins for about 68 days for liquidity. I don't like that, but at least they're offering it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I like that. So anyway, I wanted to kind of touch base a little bit too, because I think there's still confusion, right, about Ripple, XRP, and XRP Ledger.
Sure.
Right?
No, I'm sure there's confusion. It's a very complicated subject matter. The whole thing is. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So when we think about Ripple, the company, we think about a centralized company that provides real-time gross settlement. They created a real-time gross settlement system, which you can exchange currency, you can do remittance, and it's all based on a technology company called Ripple. When we think about the XRP ledger, that's the blockchain that's decentralized, community driven. Okay. And they're building out their ecosystem, and they just started bringing NFTs to their XRP ledger, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until, I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, so it's called XLS-20, and what they're trying to do is bring a new standard of NFTs, you know, to the XRP ledger. So I think it's November 16th and 17th, Ripple does a conference like every single year. And usually it's called the Swell Conference. And usually during these conferences is when companies announce really big adoption and partnerships. So today's the 3rd. We really, you know, that's only like 2 weeks away. I'm super excited to hear what they have to say. Right. Definitely. Yeah. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes and ears open and to see. I'm pretty excited about it.
Absolutely. Post eclipse too, so it should be impactful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know. I'm so excited. I think we're going to just start seeing it again. And once we get some sort of regulation, I think it's going to be like so hard to keep up with institutional money coming into the crypto space. You know, it's going to be, yeah, for sure. I think that could be like a big catalyst to move back into a bull cycle. So when we think about XRP, you know, XRP is the native token to the XRP ledger as well as Ripple. So Ripple designed this cross-border settlement system as an alternative to the SWIFT system. So the SWIFT system is partnered with, you know, over like 10,000 financial institutions, and that's where we do most of our trading all throughout the world. And currently everything is settled in the United States dollar because the United States has the world reserve currency. So if this can change, and I think it can change, like when I'm looking at the news and things like that, I think a lot of countries are going to want to start trading in their own dollars, not relying on the United States dollar.
Right.
So that could be like a segue for Ripple to get in. I don't know if they can pull this off. I mean, they're really looking to disrupt, you know, kind of like the banking cartel. They might want to join the banking cartel, or they might want to change the banking system from within. We'll see. We don't know. No one knows. And people get so angry and upset about Ripple. It's a banker's coin. It's centralized. Well, so is the United States dollar. Right? So, and we use that every day, you know.
Yes, we do.
So you got to keep things in you know, in balance. And for me, if Ripple pulls this off, right, and they're using XRP for international trade, do we really want that to be decentralized, or should that be centralized?
Right. No, that's a very good point.
You know what I mean? If it's like a central banking coin for all the different banks to send money to all these different countries, I think it does make sense for that to be centralized.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well, I think if it's going to be that broad, I think it has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure, because these countries do nefarious things all the time. So I think I'm just not super against it. And that's kind of where I stand from that. But yeah, XRP is the native token, right? So that's the cryptocurrency. And Ripple is a company that developed this software technology, right? That we've seen Bank of America, PNC Bank. There's major banks in India, Singapore, Australia, England. They've all adopted this, right? So they're going to use this. And when I hear Brad Garlinghouse say that XRP is the heartbeat of RippleNet, then I think that it is their intention that XRP will be used. And I think about Stellar and Algorand and all of these companies. Why would they develop these tokens if they're not going to use them?
Right.
Because when I think about the future of finance, I think about artificial intelligence, drones, algorithms. So I think that these tokens can be used within these systems, and it really has nothing to do with us. But they're going to be used, I think.
Right. No, I think, yeah, I don't think any of it has anything to do with us. It's just going to be what it is.
Exactly. So awesome. So we'll keep everybody posted. 16th, 17th, Ripple Swell. I'm super excited about it. All right.
Mid-November.
So let's talk about this again. I don't own Dogecoin. I don't really, I own Shiba Inu, but it was kind of more of like just to participate with some of my friends, right? But Elon Musk bought Twitter. And what happened to the price of Doge?
I don't know why I didn't think about it. I've owned Doge in the past, and most, I know that there's still a few people in my circle that have it, but man, I don't know why I wasn't thinking of that play.
Yeah, I didn't think about it
It was
either.
a great play.
Yeah, it was a great play. We should have totally been accumulating some Doge, right? So, Elon Musk, if you missed it, like in the last bull cycle that we had, Elon Musk is Dogecoin, right? He wants to send it. Did he put Doge and send it on one of his ships out? I think he did. I think he sent Doge out in outer space.
Probably.
But yeah. he's a big fan of Dogecoin. So we let's put our thinking caps on and let's speculate. Will Twitter adopt Doge to be a part of that social media platform?
Oh, I would absolutely say yes. And right now you have to pay $8 to get a blue check mark by your name. That's one of the first things that Mr. Musk implemented. I don't know if you've heard about that yet. So I wonder how people will start, paying for that with their Doge coins. I mean, I think there's going to be lots of things that will happen, but that's the first payment thing that he put in to get a verified check mark. So,
oh, that's so interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So if you're a holder of Doge, I recommend, not financial advice, hold it, right? Because Twitter is huge. I mean, and, Elon Musk is a super smart guy. He'll be bringing all of his really strong developers, and we'll see where this takes us. You know what I mean? And the other thing is too, oh, you're going to say something?
Well, I mean, I'm just going back to, and if you're not holding it, I mean, I would really, I don't know. It's a catch-22, folks, because if it goes to where it was and you purchase now and start dollar cost averaging in, it's, to me, in many ways, a no-brainer. I'm not saying that I'm going to acquire any, because at this point it's not top of my list, but I think there's a potential there for sure.
Yeah, and it's hard. So Kelly and I have been accumulating coins for many years now, and it gets to a point where it's like, Kelly, do we have a problem?
Yes. It's kind of like Halloween candy season, right? All year long.
When do you stop? Stop eating the candy. Stop accumulating all these coins.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought.
Oh, no, it's good. So the other thing I wanted to mention about Twitter is that they are partnered with Strike. Strike was created by this 27-year-old. His name is Jack Mallers. He created the Lightning Network, which is going to solve Bitcoin's payment, that when you go and make a payment, Bitcoin's super slow because it's so secure, right? So what this young man did was create the Lightning Network, which is going to provide instantaneous settlement when you pay with Bitcoin, and they are already partnered with Twitter. So I can see Doge and Bitcoin being the two biggest coins on the Twitter platform.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yep. So just, just something to think about. And again, like when I think about Bitcoin being about 20,000 and, and again, like talking to my family the other night, they're like, well, Bitcoin's down. Yeah, it's the best time to start dollar cost averaging and accumulate some, right? You don't want to buy it when it's 50, 60, 70 grand. You want to buy it now, hold your coins and ride the wave, right?
Right.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm so super excited about what's going on with Twitter. I hope that we come up with some censorship free social media platforms. I know that Jack Dorsey made an announcement. He is creating a decentralized social media platform that is going to stop the censorship of folks. Because the more people I talk to in the community and the more people I work with, there are a lot of people who have gotten their bank accounts canceled, PayPal canceled, just because they do not buy into the current narrative.
Right.
This is wrong. We all have, and we should have, the right to have individual thought. And if we lose individual thought, what is our world going to come to? Are we at a point, Kel, where the government knows best? I mean, right? They're the ones that created all of this,
The government knows all. I mean, they have the backdoor insights to everything. You think you're flying under the radar in any context or not. So it's a very interesting time to be watching all this play out.
Yep. So we're watching it and we're getting educated, because we have an opportunity for money sovereignty. Okay. When I look at Holland and they want to track all transactions over $100, not okay. Not okay. We made that DeFi song, right, Kel? And I posted what Senator Loomis said. Do you need to know when an American buys a couch or a cow? Or how about a cup of coffee? Because what happens when you drink too much coffee and caffeine's not good for you?
I don't know. I guess you follow my life and you'll discover.
Right. But it's like, is that what it's going to take? So I'm like, let's rise now. So these things don't happen, right? We don't want to give all of everything away. It's just not okay. So the Fed hiked rates yesterday, 0.75. We see the markets like a little bit down, but that was expected. I do see Jerome Powell starting to pivot, just like we were saying, though.
Well, we've been waiting to see what's going to happen, and we thought it might be mid-November.
Yeah. So what he was saying is, there's like lagging indicators when it comes to inflation. So every month, Jerome Powell has been raising interest rates, but in terms of watching inflation fall, it's a lagging indicator. So it can take a couple of months, 5-6 months, for inflation to really come down. So it's like a balancing act to try to lower inflation while raising interest rates without crushing the economy.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, but I did see that Open Door is laying off about 555 employees. I'm not against that. Open Door is owned by BlackRock and they are buying all our houses.
Right. Yep.
So, as we see more and more layoffs, Jerome Powell will come in and then he'll lower interest rates. Okay. So we're going to be watching this, throughout December. I think we'll see. I think December, it could be, it depends on inflation numbers, but we could look at 0.5 point. And then we'll see how the stock market and the cryptocurrency market reacts to that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
But to that point, though, really recently, Bitcoin's been holding very stable in comparison to the regular market. We talked about that last week, and that's a really telling indicator of, I think, really what's beginning to flow into the cryptocurrency as far as stability. If Bitcoin's not plummeting along with the regular market movements and it's finding its legs, then that's a great sign.
Yeah, I mean, this could be it. This could be the Bitcoin bottom. We just don't know. No. We just don't know. And we can have a major economic event or world event that could affect the price of Bitcoin. But again, when I look at, we're in November. I can't believe it's November, but we're in November right now. The end of the year is right around the corner, and we're looking at regulation, getting clarity for all these digital assets, looking at, Fidelity digital assets, right? They manage multi-trillion dollars, and they have a Bitcoin trust. They have an Ethereum index now. So we're seeing the mass adoption happen in plain sight.
Right.
But it's underneath like mainstream. You know what I mean? Really interesting. And with that said, if you are young and you are about to go to college, I recommend going to become a programmer. The average programmer on the Ethereum blockchain makes over $150,000 a year. Just saying.
It's all technical. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all technical.
All you parents out there, it's like, again, let's just educate our kids, because everything is going to be more and more technology advanced as we move into this new world. So it's just a thought, The other thing is Bitcoin had a birthday.
I know. I didn't realize that it was, how old is it? This 14. is going to make us all feel why. This is why we have gray hair. 14 years old. That's wild.
Yeah. So, Bitcoin's a teenager.
It's going into its rebellious years.
Right? Which is not a bad thing.
Have an attitude. So.
Yeah, I love it. And again, it's like Bitcoin is sovereign money. It's not controlled by any government. And with that said, if you buy Bitcoin, you hold it at Grayscale, you hold it at Aladdin's platform with BlackRock or at Fidelity Digital Assets, your Bitcoin is centralized.
Right.
Super important. And I'm not saying these are bad things, right? Because I don't want to custody all of my money. But during unstable and in times of instability, we really want to be our own bank right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And with that said, as a side note, I just want to make mention, I was listening to George Gammon. He's a macroeconomic guy, super successful entrepreneur. He's a billionaire. And I watched one of his whiteboard videos about a potential diesel crisis in America. Yeah. And this could be fear mongering but again, I don't think it's time to panic, but it's time to be prepared, right, Kel?
Well, and why is diesel so important? It's because it is the main driving force about how food, goods, and services goods are delivered throughout the country. So it is a big deal. I mean, we have our rail yards, absolutely, but, semi trucks have to get from point A to point B with our groceries and things that we need. So it is something to be mindful of. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what George Gammon was recommending was just like, if you have a generator, just top it off and 6 months worth of food, because we don't know what's going to happen. So let's just be prepared in case something does get disrupted, during, this winter. Okay. And as 5G gets implemented and these sensors grow all around the world, we'll see the Internet of Things start helping with some of these supply chain issues, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't need diesel for autonomous semis.
No, you don't. But we do know that the 5G hasn't been laid in the majority of the country. So
I don't know. I want to do a little bit more research on it because I've been speaking to some people here and they're laying it. Our town has 5,000 people that live here. And they're
I guess I'm thinking through the cornfields of Kansas, but maybe.
You know what? So I think it's something that we should keep an eye on.
Yeah.
But, you know, just to kind of, I always like to just be prepared. So we're not scared. We're just like, oh, thank goodness, you know, I bought a bunch of rice and beans and things like that. So
right.
Just because we don't know what's going to happen. And again, a lot of people who live up north or out west where it gets super cold, if you have an oil tank, that is like there's like a conditioner that goes into the fuel, and that's diesel.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just stuff to keep an eye out on.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. All right.
But it's all good, and it's almost turkey time. So let's all anchor into the change of the seasons across the board. All seasons are changing.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving's always a good time to educate your family about what Jerome Powell, the Fed chair of the United States Central Bank, the economy is recovering, but we're recovering to a new economy based on technology. So everything is going to go digital. So I'm not saying everyone should go mortgage your house and buy some Bitcoin and Ethereum, but own a piece.
Yep. Absolutely. And I guess until next time, and wait, put this in your, put this feather in your cap for your blessings over your Thanksgiving dinner. I know we're a few weeks early, is to really, maybe that'll be dinner conversation. Probably not. Probably better to have a dessert conversation, not a dinner conversation, but regardless, we're early. See, yeah. We're early. We're early to Thanksgiving. We're early to all of it. So it's all perfect.
Yeah. Gobble, gobble, gobble up some Bitcoin.
Yeah. All right. And until next week.
Huddle on, everyone.
Huddle on. Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomeninCrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, huddle on.